Hello and welcome to another episode of the OLY podcast show. My name is Lewis Pearson. I'm your host. If you are tuning in for the first time, welcome. I hope you enjoy. And on the show, we have the founder of Whey'd UK. Whey'd is a company founded by Adam, and they make stomach-friendly Whey'd supplements. He found that he was getting an upset stomach off the products he was taking from some of the market leaders, and he felt that he should do something about it, and I'm glad he did, because now I have been converted onto these products that he's making, as well as a lot of other people. Those people include Premier League football teams, high level, high profile CrossFit athletes, to name a few. We talk all things startup. It's not really about his business. It's more so the lessons that we have learned, or that, should I say, Adam has learned in trying to start up his own project. We talk about the barriers to entries, common and typical problems you'll face in trying to set up a project, whether that's a passion project or a paid project. And the lessons in the show are very much so transferable to someone if you're inside a business and outside of the business. So it's kind of a very, very universally applicable show today. I'll not butcher the intro any longer. What I will do is leave you with a company motto, which is small victories repeated daily. And I have just a little ask, and it is, if you enjoyed the show, if you liked what you heard, if you got value, if you think someone could benefit, please like, share, review, do something, take energy, or put a bit of energy into the show and help us out. We do not pay to advertise this, and it is not a sales platform. It is purely a platform to try and help people, and we're doing our damnedest to do that. So if you got any value, please share. It's easier than ever to do it, and we would really, really appreciate it. So hope you enjoy the show, guys, and thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you next week. Hello and welcome to another episode of the OLY podcast show. We're joined none other by that is the worst intro ever. We are joined by none other than Adam French. Adam is the founder, head honcho boss man at Whey'd. Whey'd is actually, I'm going to let you introduce your own company because I've butchered it in the past. But before we get into that, before we introduce him, I just want to lay out the facts, why we do this show. And as of January, we changed the mission of the brand, and that mission is to help people holistically succeed and develop. And doing this podcast is one way we deliver on that. We want to get people like Adam. We want to get people who have achieved something, that have started something, that have trialed and experienced tribulation, that have failed, that have won, that have done everything, and can teach us a lesson from that journey. So that's the whole aim of this. My aim is that in listening to Adam and in any of our shows, you will learn something. And the other thing to that, guys, is this is purely organic. And what that means is we are not, in fact, we are refusing to pay to advertise it, because that is not the point of this. This is not a sales platform. It is not a way for us to make money. It's a way for us to give back and deliver our mission. So with that being said, I would say, if you like what you hear, if you get value, if you get a laugh, please share, please tell a friend, please put it onto your story on Instagram. It's so fucking easy in 2020 to do it. So just help a brother out. That's all I'll ask. So with all that taken care of, Adam, how are you, bro?
I'm good. Just before we start, so I'm not getting paid for this gig then? It's
No,
not a fee. We didn't actually talk about that.
Totally lied to you, mate. That £1,000 fee is complete lie.
I did it for £5, mate. Yeah, all is good. All is good, man. I'm very well, thank you. Enjoying life, new normal. Life is good. Can't complain. I'm someone that works from home anyway, so this isn't too much different for me. The fact that I've got the missus at home more often is probably a good thing. So there's every cloud is a silver lining, I suppose. So yeah.
Oh, there's some boyfriend points for you, bro.
I'll make sure she listens to the first 5 minutes. I just love being at home with her.
Just listen to the first 5 minutes. Honestly, that's all I need you to listen
to. I'll tell you the truth at the end.
But even that, on that, mate, like you said, that you're working from home. Was there a massive disruption during lockdown for you in running and organizing your business?
Yeah, there was. I mean, I used to do everything. So I used to fulfill the orders. I used to live in London when I first started Whey'd back in sort of early 2018. We used to live in a top floor flat. It was about 4 floors up, and I'd have to carry each individual box up, and we'd always do the orders from there. But now it's slightly different. That I actually use my old man started working for us about 2 years ago, maybe about a year and a half. Um, so he's sort of coming towards sort of retirement age, but he used to work in a manager pub, but we got so busy and he was starting to help me out when I was going away. And he now does all the orders for us. So he's got a little shed, we've got a warehouse with all the stuff. So every single order that we place is from him. So I actually don't need to be, I can literally just work from a laptop. I could be living in Australia, I could live in Bali. It doesn't really matter to me too much at the moment. What we did do a lot of was go to visit gyms and people, which I do like to do, but people have just switched to Zoom. They've switched to phone calls. You know, I'm probably speaking to people more often. It's actually easier because the people aren't busy or as busy. So a lot of the time people are on my way, I've got meetings. It's great. So I think people will change. I think businesses will change. I think, you know, my sister works for a big bank. They've basically said to her that we're probably not going to have an office after this. And I know a lot of the companies are the same. So there's obviously been disruptions in terms of it happened quite quickly, but we've managed to work around that. Our business was kind of split 50-50 online and with wholesalers and working with gyms directly. And we work with a lot of Premier League football clubs as well that take our product for their players. And obviously that part of the business just went from 50% of our income to zero. So we had to do a big switch in the same way that I know you have, and we've spoken before, but a lot of the companies just have to be really quick in reacting and getting straight online. But it means we've seen quite a lot of our customers go online, which is great. So yeah, it's been interesting, but now the gyms are starting to open again. The football clubs have been back for a couple of months now, so that's great for us. So yeah, long may it continue.
Yeah, big time, bro. And it's definitely interesting to hear that. And actually, we're talking about, you know, where right now and how you've had to do the magic P word of pivoting. Give us me a quick, and like, you know, a lot of people listening may or may not know your brand and business.
Yes.
So give us a quick intro to that.
So it's really simply, it's a protein powder that you can take that won't upset your stomach. So it's as simple as that. We have variants, we have bags, we have sachets, we do t-shirts and stuff. But the core principle is you can take the protein shake. If you typically would be intolerant to lactose or dairy or a lot of other brands out there, you can take this one and feel great. I started the business because I was that person. I was in that bracket. I would take a protein shake. I wouldn't take the vegan ones because they didn't taste very nice, or they don't taste very nice, in my opinion. And they're quite high in fiber. So they still do give you a little bit of an upset stomach. So a lot of the whey brands out there don't take out the lactose. Whey is a byproduct of cheese making, so there's going to have lactose in there from the milk. So yeah, it's basically that. We were trying to find a way. I did a lot of research to think, well, how can you take a product? How can you take the lactose out? What's the reason why people are getting an upset stomach? And it's not just the lactose. We sort of partially break down the protein, the amino acids, which means that it gets into your bloodstream quicker. So yeah, the stats going around that say up to 60 to 65% of people are intolerant to lactose. So the market's big. People just tend to tolerate it though. I was the same. I would be like, fine, this is just a
Part of it.
a necessary evil of taking protein powder. So it took a lot of research, but we got there in the end. And I would say 90% of our customers that use us now use us because they can just take it and feel great.
Yeah, mate, and I personally take it. We've done some product trades in the past, and I've been taking it actually for the last 2 months. And
I actually thought, I didn't want to say, but I could tell when I saw you on camera. I thought, Jesus, he's definitely been on.
You sized that up, bro. You see,
I won't do the same, but that's been one big difference on lockdown is I haven't seen a barbell or a dumbbell for 12 weeks. But hey, it's part of the process. I'm probably
we'll just all turn into marathon runners, but sure. We'll enjoy the process of getting big again. But no, even to add reference to that, you know, it's trusted by a lot of big athletes. I mean, even on our athlete team, you know, PD and Army both both swear by it. They love the
Mm.
product. And I know
Yeah,
one of
and
our
they drink a lot of it
ex-athletes,
too. So
yeah, I know one of our ex-athletes, Mickey, is a big purveyor of it as well. So, yeah, mate, I know it's good product. I've taken it, I've tried it, and I really, really love it. Yeah, just in the middle of one here, Graham. Just I forgot to put this sign up. Um, but yeah, I know the product's good. I know, like I trust it as well, and the price point of it's effective, and I love everything about it, mate. So,
thanks, mate.
we'll slide along, bro. There's one question.
Yeah.
There's a couple of questions I wanted to ask you, but obviously, you're in the startup game. You're an entrepreneur by trade. So one question I wanted to ask you, especially maybe not specific to your game, but in general, or specific to your game, whatever you want to go down the route of. But what are the
Mm.
main barriers to maybe getting started, or what barriers did you experience um, in starting your own game or in starting your own gig?
Yeah, and then there's a lot. I think it all depends. I can talk it from a product-based business. It rather than a service-based business. So the problem with a product-based business is manufacturing, and the manufacturers out there, and this is not me sort of slating them, they are quite old school, and it's kind of they try to have a one-size-fits-all approach. So when we were starting Whey'd, one of the big things that I wanted to do was have a sachet that was smaller, was thinner, that could fit into a shaker. And I went to manufacturers and they said, well, we don't do that as standard, so we can't help you, or sorry, we don't do that, sort of computer says no sort of thing. And I was like, well, surely someone can look around the edges and help me out here. And I spent a long time trying to find a manufacturer. So what you'll get a lot is the big barriers are, sorry, it's not possible. You can't do that. We've not done it before. We can't do it again. Now, if you've got something that you want to do, they will eventually do it. And you just have to find the right persistence is quite key. You have to have this sort of blind persistence to know that there will be a solution to your problem, or a manufacturer out there will help you. Typically, again, manufacturers will require very large minimum orders, and that's again just all about, whether you get it from China, whether you get it from the UK, whether you get it from Ireland, it doesn't matter. These companies are used to dealing with hundreds of thousands of pounds orders, and they'll just whack a huge minimum order. The reason they'll do that is because they get a lot of people coming to them, and they never come back because it doesn't work out. So I get why they're doing it, but you've got to create that relationship with them. So our dairy, well, not obviously, but our dairy is from the southeast of Ireland. So some of the best dairy farmers in the world. So we chose to go there, not because it was outside our front door, because it's the best. So we went over there, we met them, got a conversation, had a relationship. What can we do? And we were trying to build a longer term relationship rather than I just want to make money on them. And it was also really key for me was to find a suppliers and manufacturers that I actually got on with. My background before Whey'd was 8 years in data marketing. And we had to deal with clients that were just horrible to deal with, that would almost bully you, and you go home in the evening just hating life. And now I sort of made when I started Whey'd, it was like I only want to work with people that I enjoy working with, and because it's my choice. So that's a kind of barrier. I think you don't have to pick the first person you find. There's a lot of support out there, and just simplify it. Don't think too much. Be really niche to start with. That's another big tip I think I've picked up from all of the books I've read, all the podcasts I've listened to, is just keep it really super simple and niche. I think I can't remember who said it now, but there's just this quote that just says, simplify, don't multiply. And I just love that.
Big
I
time, mate.
don't like many quotes. I'm not sort of the guy that has an office wall, but the simpler you make it, the more niche you come, the easier it will become for you.
Yeah, and even if I can hop on that, because we're kind of similar in product base, and there's an element of manufacturing and supply in it, and like we wasted a lot of money and a lot of time, thinking that there was only one or two suppliers, and with that, we were kind of the scarcity mindset, and you kind of mentioned it before. There is a lot of people out there that can solve your problem, and the nature of being startup, or the nature of being in the infant stages of finding supply and relationship with a supplier, is that you might just through your experience just rush into deals, and that's actually what I done. with a lot of suppliers as well.
Mm.
So I would just say, yeah, all like shop around, because especially in the early stages, you're going to think that there's very limited people trying to do what you're doing or trying
Yeah,
to
it's
solve the problem that
yeah.
you have.
The I read so many business books. I find it fascinating, not because I want to learn, just to enjoy reading them. I don't read much non-fiction books, but a lot of them are like telling you all their mistakes. Like, don't make these mistakes. And the only way to learn is to do it yourself. I know it sounds silly, it sounds a bit wanky, but like, people are, myself included, can be quite stubborn. People tell you, don't do that, don't do this. But it's only until you've been bitten that you kind of know that I definitely won't do that again. You use the wrong supplier, you've got anything like that. It's just, you kind of have to just go through the motions yourself, in the same way that, in relationships in life, you kind of have to go, the first cut is the deepest. Not to get too philosophical here, but would only learn if you do it yourself. So,
Yeah,
people say, what's your advice for doing this and that? It's like, every business is so different. You almost kind of have to make your mistakes. And
yeah.
the advice you can do is just keep it as simple as possible, not get yourself into too much debt, and just try and get a product out there and get feedback. So yeah.
And I think there's a mini lesson in there as well for anybody listening that's kind of starting. Like, you don't be like adverse to risk or failing, because it will
Mm,
happen. You will
yeah.
make the wrong call. Like, in a year, you could make up to 5,000, 10,000 big decisions, and that's not
Mm,
any word of a lie. And
yeah.
by law of averages and law of numbers, you will fuck it up sometimes. And being okay with that
Yeah. Yeah.
is a massive thing. And like you said there as
Yeah.
well, mistakes are relative to the game that you're in. So
Mm,
yes, you can go and read a book, you can go and ask for advice, but you know that's only going to help you so much. I mean, you got to go out and understand your game, and
yeah. There
feeling
is
is
some great
going
advice out there. I mean, we
to
use the British Library. They've got some really good free advice. There is some great advice out there. The only advice I would probably recommend for someone that starts selling a product is get an accountant, get someone that knows the numbers on early, and making sure that you're spending the money properly. That's not a sort of lesson you want to learn the hard way, because we've done a lot of stuff wrong with money. We've done a lot of stuff right with money, but you want to make sure that you're using every pound of fish as efficiently as possible. So
yeah.
there's ways to do that. So you don't want to mess around with money, but mistakes elsewhere in the business, that's fine.
Bro, if I, and again, like, I'm loving this, because like we're kind of in the same stages of
Yeah,
business, and
very
very
similar.
much
Yeah.
so in the infant stage, and what you said just kind of cut deep, let's say. I mean, um, like it
Sorry, we should
just,
have a conversation a couple of years ago.
yeah, mate. And it's like, even the first 2 years of business, we were just erratically spending. We were just, we would get money and we would spend money, and like, I
Mm,
had no formal business education, and so like it was just kind of off best guess, I suppose. And like, we didn't have
yeah.
a regulated set of books for right up until 2018, which is
Mm,
ridiculous to think that that's 2 years
mm,
ago. So like,
yeah.
knowing where your money's going, knowing your margins, knowing your data, will help you not only manage and run your business, but also project and look into the future. With
Yeah.
like, whether it be Facebook ads, whatever it may be, it's like, if
Yeah.
I spend a pound, how much am I getting back for that pound? And then it just
Yeah.
becomes a cause and effect relationship. Whereas if you're just firing money at things, you're just pissing in the wind. And
Yeah, it's
you know,
there's I think we're the general consensus of the general population thinks that you can just get investment, you can get equity investment,
oh
you can get angel investors and throw money at it. And these tech companies that are doing so, that it's not sustainable. I think I really enjoyed the pod you did with Fran. A lot of the stuff that she said resonated with me, and I think her dad said that profit is more important than turnover. I think that I might have just got that wrong, but it's so true. You see, I mean, there's no point bragging about £1 million turnover if you've spent 2 million to get that million.
yeah,
That's not a successful business. If you've that, I mean, that's what these companies are doing, and they're doing it because they're setting up to sell the company. Again, what Fran was saying, but that's not the case for 99.9% of businesses. Small businesses that don't want to go public, that want to stay private, you've got to spend every pound efficiently and make profit. Like, for us, we make more profit than a lot of the bigger companies, but our turnover is nowhere near theirs,
Yeah.
because we decided to make profit rather than just massage our egos. And the turnover is sanity and profit is otherwise. Turnover is
Yeah.
vanity and profit is sanity.
Yeah,
So look,
that was the
yeah.
line that I was going to drop in there. One of my good friends runs a freight forwarding business, and he always,
Yeah,
and I fucking hate it when he hits me with it, because the truth hurts.
yeah,
Like, and he's
yeah.
got this real posh accent, and he's like, turnover
Go
is vanity and profit is sanity, and I'm like, fucking hell, and
on.
it sucks because it's
Yeah,
true.
it sounds quite condescending, but it's true. And it's one thing, like I've read a book recently about, we're trying to just make sure we're as efficient as possible, is if you earn £10, make sure you put at least 1% of that into a separate bank account that is profit. Just leave it there, because I run my business the same way that I've run my bank account the last 15 years of my life. You look at the available balance and you say, okay, I've got this to spend on improving the business. If the profit isn't in that bank account, if it's in a separate bank account, you don't see it and you don't know it's there. And actually, over a year, over a quarter, you'll start generating a profit, and that £1 in that account makes your business, in my eyes, more successful than someone that's turning over £1 million but they've made £1 million loss.
Big
So yeah.
time, big time. And those are
Mm.
like, those are harsh lessons, and they, especially financial lessons, are big lessons to take,
Mm.
and they can also be very, very damaging and
Yeah.
difficult to overcome. So
Yeah.
I'm really
Definitely.
glad we touched on that.
Mm.
So we'll move her along again, mate. So I've been thinking as well in chatting to you before this show, and even thinking about, some of the stuff I wanted to cover. Like us, you're in a very, very competitive market space. I mean,
Yeah.
like I
It's
don't even
too
need to,
competitive. Yeah.
yeah, I don't even need to add
Yeah.
reference to that.
Yeah.
So how do you, really separate yourself from other people, and how do you make your brand unique
Yeah.
in the product or service that you're offering?
Yeah. It's a question I ask myself every day. Why am I doing this? Why did I choose one of the most competitive marketplaces? And I'm sure you do the same as well, mate. It's it's the reason I did it is because I was trying to solve a problem that hadn't been solved before. So I would never just enter this market with a generic product. So if there was a product or a company or a brand solving the problem that I wanted to solve already, I would never have entered this market. I entered this market because no one was articulating the best way to take a protein shake without giving you an upset stomach. But also, as sort of a further problem to that is, as someone coming new to protein powders, they'll go onto one of the the big brands websites, and on average, I've looked through all of them. They have about 20. Each of them on average have about 20 different types of protein powder. Now, protein powder is protein, right? It's not designed for, it's protein is protein. So there aren't two different types of protein. We did it on our own podcast, is we talk about diet protein and women's protein and protein for getting stronger. It's all the same stuff. They just use marketing to deceive you.
Yeah.
And for me, the reason I wanted to go into this, because I know a lot about how marketers deceive you, because I was in that space. I wasn't saying I was deceiving people, but I know the tricks of the trade. Such as saying diet protein. There is no such thing as diet protein. It's a con. They're charging you more money for it. You're wasting your money. Same in women's protein. And these things just frustrated me. So it goes back to this simplify, not multiply rule, is that I wanted just to offer one product, one protein, because protein is protein. So you don't need two different types. If you're looking to lose weight, you can use protein. If you're looking to put on muscle and be in a calorie surplus, you eat more, but you still have protein. It's the same base product. But why not make that base product the best you can find? So if someone's saying, how do you differentiate yourself? First thing is to make sure you're answering a problem, solving a problem that no one else has done before. There and then you've got yourself a niche market, and you're completely differentiating yourself from other people. Now, what will happen, as a stage 2 to that, other brands are going to come along and try and copy what we're doing. But we try to have every touch point in our business perfect. So as an online business, you're not just an online business, you're a marketing company, you are a logistics company. I see so many big brands that will say that will get a great deal on the website, There's a big one, I'm not going to name, in the CrossFit space, that sell a lot of clothing, and they sell and shoes and whatever. And it's great to go there to get all these big brands, but then it takes a week to come, and you're like, where is it? And they're like, oh, sorry, we don't know. It's not our problem. It's the fulfillment company's problem. You have to own every single stage of the business. So we know that we're the best product on the market. You know, it's the lowest calories, it's the highest branch chain amino acids. I know for a fact there isn't a better one out there, and you have to believe that. But we also then think, well, how can we make the best customer service? So we look at examples of best customer service. That's why my dad does it in his shed, hand by, each sachet goes in by him, rather than using another company. That's why that we ensure that we've now switched over to next day and 48-hour truck delivery, because during lockdown we had to switch to another courier service that were absolutely useless, and it was taking a week to a week and a half to get there, and our standards dropped. So you kind of have to look at every single stage and put yourself into that business and make sure that if you are the customer, the problem's been solved and in a remarkable way. So that's kind of like the best advice I could give as well as a business. Make sure you solve a problem, otherwise don't do it. Because people always ask me, oh, I'm looking to set up my own, I don't know, mug painting business. I'm like, well, there's already mug painting businesses out there. You don't need to do that.
Oh, stop giving away my next big idea.
It was you, wasn't it? Shit, I forgot about that. But like, if there's already a product doing it, don't do it. Start somewhere else. But also make it really simple so people can understand it, and make it the best product you can possibly be. That keeps me going when I see, I know how much the big brands spend online. But knowing that we've got the best product, we're answering that problem for that niche group of people. Again, a big mistake people make is they try and have a one size fits all. That's never the case. Nike started selling running shoes for 3 or 4 years out the back of his truck, his car, for runners. And then they've moved on to clothes, and then they don't do it all at once. So start with a niche, answer a problem, and it just helps that person that you're probably trying to solve, that target consumer, is yourself, I think. If I went into bras or something like that I would never be the consumer for, personally. Some people might, but I wouldn't be able to say I don't know how a bra fits. I know what the material. I know nothing about that. Just because I know bras make money doesn't mean that I should be in that business. So yeah, it's, for me, that's the main thing. We know that brands are going to come after us, but we know that our customers that are already tasting our product, they're getting our customer service. There's another, again, I say I don't do quotes, but there is another type of quote, is that you got to be so good that they don't look elsewhere. So we make sure that once someone comes on board, we're so good at what we do that even if someone did a product elsewhere that was a similar price point, they wouldn't even be looking at that product because they're completely happy with your current provider. In the same way that when you're looking for a phone contract, you look at everyone, but then once you signed a 24-month deal, no longer are you looking for another phone contract because you're already within your contract. So they're my probably 25 top tips, but yeah, I do like to ramble, so apologies.
No, bro, I think because there's so many times I was going to jump in, but I didn't need to because I was, I want to listen, and you went on and said it. But I think it's like a real overarching theme is like generally there needs to be a problem, and with that, one thing that I always say whenever someone asks me is that problem needs to add value, save time, add convenience, or save money, or add hope.
Yeah,
it has to be one of those things. And
then
on top of that, I think one really good thing you said as well was make it one problem. Like, it's one thing that I struggled with, especially because we make products for women and men, and there's a reason we haven't launched our leggings yet. There's a reason we haven't launched some female products yet, and that's because I'm not going to put my name on a shit product.
Yeah, because it will ruin all your other products. It'll ruin your brand.
Exactly, and it's a really hard thing because we have suppliers and we have teams we can work with that we could put out a substandard product, might solve the problem, but it wouldn't be to our standard. And there's always discussion in the team here that let's do it, let's move forward, and it's so tempting to go out and do it because it could make a quick buck, it could make a bit of money. But if you can't solve the problem, you know, not only are they not going to buy, but that's probably going to put a bad taste in their mouth for the rest of the products that you're providing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
What would be your, because obviously you've done a very similar thing. You've gone into a market that there's a lot of a saturated market, a lot of brands out there. What
yeah,
would be your sort of one or two pieces of advice of interest?
I think have a really, really clear idea on the problem you're trying to solve. I mean, I
Yeah.
can talk from my experience in that, you know, we had multiple messages. We wanted to solve multiple problems. And as a small business with limited resources, that can actually be quite a difficult feat to achieve. Um,
Mm.
so like, you know, we wanted to spread the message of health, fitness, and wellness at the start, but we just didn't have
Yeah.
all education resources that we could give. And
Mm.
um,
Mm.
then we had the business, the OLY clothing vehicle to deliver this mission. And it took up way more time because we had a small team. So
Yeah.
the kind of the motives of starting in the first place changed. So I think
Mm.
now, like, you know, would be a good example to look at us now and say, like, we're dialing it in. All we want to do is help people holistically succeed or
Mm.
succeed holistically, you know, and develop
Mm.
and help them in the journey of success. And
Yeah.
once you dull it down to that simplest thing, once you get your why or once you get your mission statement, the rest
Mm.
follows suit very, very easily.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think just having complete clarity on that means that
Mm.
your marketing, the product, the service, the way you operate as a business, the message you're trying to deliver, it all becomes so simple
Yeah. I
because
actually think that's why it's easier to have a business that's helping someone rather than just giving
yeah,
them like a nice added. So we're
yeah,
helping people, because people think, oh, what are you doing? At the end of the day, our product is getting people healthier and fitter, because they take protein powder to get stronger, to recover better, so they can train harder, they can get fitter, they can get healthier. For me, that makes it a lot easier to know that we're helping people out. I think I ever had a business where we weren't helping people out. We were just trying to sell them something that was completely random and it sort of deceive them. I wouldn't be able to, my why would be, I wouldn't have a why, would I? So
and that's it.
when days are dark, you need to have a strong why. Otherwise,
Oh,
yeah, you're going to be in big trouble.
like you and I both know, it's really not a glamorous thing to start your own project, to start
No.
your own business, to start your own kind of entrepreneurial journey, and you know the money is not really, it's non-existent. Like
Mm,
I can vouch for that. I don't know about you, but
yeah.
yeah, you like you said there, you need to have a why and you need to have a reason
Mm,
why you show up every day. Like
yeah.
it
Yeah.
fills me and my team's heart full of joy knowing that
Mm,
like if the content that we put out or the information that we're putting out or the apparel that we're putting out to support active endeavors, if that
mm,
changes the course of someone's life, and that's a massive
mm,
statement, but I stand by
mm.
it. You know
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. Yeah.
a commitment I have to
It's
our
that feeling of getting a product as well, and you getting it home, and you're just disappointed about it, and it's such a disheartening feeling.
yeah
But to know that you're giving them a product, or they're trying on that top, or whatever, and they feel great, it fits well, the material's good. That is it. Like for us, it's when people drink it and think, "Oh my god, I've not got an upset stomach. What the hell's happening?" But it also tastes great, and it also helps me recover. That's that's for me, and again, that's why we haven't branched out to protein bars or to the other things, because we want to be experts at one thing. And also, I would never bring out protein bar because there's not a protein bar on this planet that tastes nice that doesn't have a load of shit in it.
yeah
The facts that you don't need a pint of water. So, in my opinion, I say they're the facts in my opinion, but you've got to make sure that you're doing that. And we are releasing new products, but we've spent a long time working on those for the right reasons, rather than just sort of getting out there to make more money. So,
and I
yeah,
think made another thing as well in 2020 in this day and age, you really can't hide anywhere. You really can't
no, no, you can't. Which is great for. It's
yeah,
great to people like people want to know where their stuff's coming from now. When I started Whey'd, I was fascinated that like you talk about eggs, are a great example. You want they're free range, they're caged. But with dairy, it's like, well, is this cow? Where's this cow? Is it inside? Is it grain fed? Is it grass fed? How long is it outside? Where's it from? And none of that is in regulation at the moment. The dairy farmers are working on this initiative where it's kind of like a free range cow, or free range farms, basically. It's called Pasture Promise that they're doing in Ireland, because Irish dairy is the best dairy in the world. They're outside for 85% of the year, eating grass that's grown naturally, not grain fed. So it means the quality of it is great. So, but people want to know where it's from. So on our packaging, we tell people we can trace back to the individual farmer that produces our product. So there's about, at any one time, we'll deal with probably 1,200 farmers that are part of the sort of consortium. But when we produce a batch of whey, typically that will come from one farmer, and we'll know who that farmer is. We'll know the name of the farmer and the family that it's passed down from. And we can, there's a batch code on our thing, we can trace that back. But the bigger brands, they don't tell you where it's from. And the reason why they don't tell you where it's from is because it's from somewhere else in Europe. I'm not going to name names. Somewhere else in Europe where it's indoor. The cows are indoors. They're not happy, and that reflects on the quality of the product that you're going to drink and the hormones that are in it. So for me, I love to know where things are from. Sustainability of it, making sure that when I pick up a product now, people want to know where it's from. Whether that's a t-shirt, whether that's some protein powder, whether that's some shoes. People boycott Primark for those exact reasons.
Yeah, and I think that's the consumer mentality, and kind of what I was referring to as well is like, and the consumer's the smartest they've ever been, and you can't go and bullshit them because you won't be able to, with review systems, with, all the accreditations you need to have certain products live. You can't go out and be like, oh, well, if I get it, like, fuck it, you want to hear some of the shit people tell me about, oh, well, sure, Lewis, you're just sticking a logo on a t-shirt, right? Well, if it's that easy, bro, go and knock yourself out and do it.
Yeah, do it yourself, yeah.
It's easy to look at someone and their business, and it's easy to look at something and be like, oh, I could do that. And it's great to think that, I would never, ever stop someone from trying to pursue success in their life. But the consumer, the way they are now, it's the most personable relationship anyone's ever had with a business. I buy,
and they have the right to know as well. They should know where it's from. They should know how it's produced. They should know the conditions of the factories or whatever. They should know all of that. And businesses can't hide anymore, which is great. It's great for the products being better quality. It's great for brands being more honest. And I think that's why during lockdown, and we spoke about before the call, that people are switching to local now. They're businesses that are having that personal relationship. A lot of the people that go to a corporate gym, for example, just cancelled their membership straight away. But a lot of people that go to CrossFit gyms and they pay maybe twice the average price you pay for a corporate gym have kept their gym memberships because they know their owners, they know the owners of the gyms, but they're happy just to do. And I mean, I'm the same. I kept my gym membership to the CrossFit Bath box. Yeah, I couldn't do the Zoom classes because, as you can see, I live in a flat and I don't have any weights or anything. I can barely walk around without annoying the neighbour, let alone jump around and do burpees. But I did that because I know the owner. I didn't do that. I wouldn't have done that if I was at a pure gym. So I think that's been a great thing about the lockdown in terms of people wanting to buy local.
And I fully agree. And you know what? As a small business owner, I'm endorsing it. I'm behind it. I want it to go that way because we put in so much fucking time serving our customer. We put in so much time in making sure that the service and that, that they're happy with what they're doing. Whereas the big companies just can't do that. And it's one of the only pieces of leverage that we have over them is to over-deliver on service, over-deliver on rapport and relationship, because we might not have a team of 10 guys doing customer service, but you can bet your ass Graham's going to fucking, bust his ass to make sure that your service.
He's doing the job with 10 people, yeah.
Exactly.
But you get a lot more reward from that. And I think business is tricky. Startup life is tricky. You have to sacrifice, a lot of your life. And, the people around you have to sacrifice even more because you've been selfish to make that decision.
Exactly.
But their rewards are a lot higher.
Exactly.
So, that for us, having one good review is literally it for us. That's all we ask for. Now, when we listen to people that have said, they've had Crohn's disease, they've never been able to take a product like this before. I can't believe how amazing I feel. These sort of things. That is my why. That makes me feel amazing. That's I think we'll talk about success later, but that's literally it. And getting paid to do that, paid enough to live to do that is great, I think, in my opinion.
I love that, man. And I think, the next kind of area that we're moving on to, we've kind of encompassed it here already, but I want to even, go back to basics, go back to as if if you could talk to Adam, from 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and you were starting out.
Yeah.
What are maybe one or two things, maybe three things that you would tell yourself at the very start, whether it be, for example, for me, I would say read more, lose the ego, and don't be impatient. So that's the three things that I would say to me. Like, what are three things that you would say to yourself or to anyone starting out that maybe has funds or, are in that starting phase?
That's a good question. I think the first thing is just do less. Try not to do everything. Do one thing at a time. My brain runs at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I've just constantly go off on a tangent. I'm not the sort of, again, you hear a lot of these other, like the big the Tim Ferriss show where they've interviewed entrepreneurs and for the last sort of 5 years, and they always ask them, what's your morning routine? Do you do meditation? I kind of do that to try and release sort of brain capacity, but try and focus at one thing at a time and what you're good at. You have to be able to, you're going to be doing so many different things throughout the day. And for me, and again, it was something I've heard on one of the other podcasts, is getting into deep work. So remove all the distractions. This is why I love to get up really early, because no one else is up. So I get up at sort of 5:30, 6:00 most days. Just have like a 2 or 3 hour window where I'm just working on my own and it's productive. Because you have to make sure that your day, even though you have maybe 10 hours of work, because you'll burn out as well, you need to make sure that you're 10 times more productive than you were working for a company.
I get
because
that.
It's just you're doing the orders, you're doing
and even if I can jump onto that, and because it will feel counterintuitive to do less, because in the start, like, it's a big mistake that I made, was just taking action on everything. And it's actually from a book that I read recently, Greg McKeown's Essentialism book, and he talks about doing less but better. And it's one thing that I've really brought in to
it's a weird thing to say to people, but I'm not saying do less as in don't do as much work. I'm saying do more of one thing or two things. Again, this is what I talk about, going back to the niche market. When we started out, we also talked about the product benefits a lot. So we talked about how much more branched chain amino acids were in our product, how much better the sustainability element was, how much better it was at making you recover quicker, how much better it was at this, which is all still true, but people don't really resonate to that. People want to know how it affects them. And then about a year after we started, we were getting all these reviews through, and people were saying, "Oh, this is great, for the stomach benefits." So we're like, well, we started it for that reason. Why are we not talking about that? Why is that not front and center of our packaging? So then we started to talk more about why we started the business, talk about the story. Again, that's something that the big brands can never compete with you on, is why you started the business, the story, why you're doing what you're doing. And we now talk about how we can benefit people. So how can my product make that person's day better? How can I make them the hero? How can I, that is, and now we do that. And it was weird when we rebranded. Some people might know our old branding. When we rebranded, that was a big part of it. And it was kind of like, why wasn't I doing this before? I started the business for this reason, but then when I because I wasn't experienced in this, in terms of running a business, even though I did business at uni, wasted time, by the way, never do it. I worked for a marketing company for 8 years, but that was a very different type of marketing. But you've just got to focus on, how does your product make that person's day better? How can you make them a hero? That's, for me,
can I drop in a quote where we're not
go for it,
but I've got one here, and it's something that me and Graham have been working on as well, and kind of refining our message, is that people don't care what you do, they care why you do it. And it's from a Simon Sinek video, Start with the why. And it's literally, and he repeats this and he keeps saying, people don't care what you do, they care why you do it. And he just kept fucking saying it. And the more and more you latch onto that, like, people won't buy my t-shirt because it's fucking really good for sweat loss, and it's really good for, it's comfy, and it can deal with excessive movement. No, people buy shit from us because we're trying to help them develop and succeed. And likewise,
Yeah.
people buy shit from you because it's not going to upset their stomach. It's going to make them feel better.
Yeah. Definitely. That's literally it. You have to make sure, and that's what we're going to be concentrating on the next sort of 12 months or however long it takes us to do, is how else can we make people fitter, stronger, healthier, bringing in the nutrition element of it. How can we help them eat better? How can we help them exercise better? How can we make the small changes in their life? Because we're in a very similar position to you in trying to make their lives better. Protein part of it is just one part of that. And if you can do that, if you can talk about how you can make their day better, then I think you'll win much more. So basically, just don't talk about the product. Don't talk about you. People don't resonate with that. They want to know about how you're going to make, how your product is going to make, or your service, their day better, their lives easier. Like you said, those 5 things. How's it going to save them time? You just have to focus on that. So they're probably the main things. That's the biggest thing we did wrong at the start, which is talking about the product. So and simplify it. So I think that's probably. I'll give you 2, mate, if that's all right.
And again, you got to make those mistakes in the start, and we've done it. It's just noise, you know.
Yeah.
Just noise.
Just speak to people as well. Like I'm very fortunate to have, you know, my fiance with me the whole journey and be able to speak to her. And it's, you know, you have to have someone around you to talk to. I don't do enough sort of networking with like-minded, probably outside of yourself, to be honest with you. You know, I don't do enough with people that are in the same boat, in the same position, just to get through, like, just to know that you're not any different. All the problems that I've had are probably exactly the same problems that you've had.
Yeah,
so you just got to speak to people.
It's refreshing as well, and especially in the startup, you can think that, oh, if I say to him that I'm really struggling, or if I say to him that I'm sucking at this, like, he's going to see it as competitive advantage, or he's going to see it as weakness. No, you got to lose that. You got to lose that mentality, because it's not real. It's in your head.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
and they'll be able to help you as well. They'll be able to help you out in the same way that, you know, when you're dealing with anxiety.
How much from our conversations are we able to just, like, you know, I'll come out and say something, and you'll be able to be like, well, no, bro, that's normal. I went through that 6 months ago, and here's how I dealt with it. Or even
you will always get, like, when I've read a business book, or I've spoken to someone, and it'll be the same after this podcast, is you have this energy that you sort of get from it, and you're like, oh, I've got so many ideas, and that's I think what you got to continue to do, because there's so many times in business when you're on your own, especially, where you'll be like, oh, this is too hard, especially when you're in a really saturated market and people are saying, I don't want to buy yours, I want to buy someone else's because it's slightly cheaper. And you have to just continue to this North Star, don't you? And I think speaking to people gets your motivation up, and why you're doing it, how you're helping people, that's your motivation, because you have to be sort of blindly, tunnel vision to get through the day. But it is, we sounds like we're complaining, but we're not. I love my job, I love what I do, but it's never going to be as roses as people think.
I suppose what we're talking about really leads on to the next question very well, mate, and that is the question we ask everyone, and it's, you know, how do you define success? And, you know, we asked this to people because we wanted to break down the stigma of maybe you know, financially orientated success, or like, you know, having, you know, wealth accumulation, whatever it may be. You know, we wanted to break down the stigma and show that success is just a subjective journey. It's relative to the individual, and it doesn't necessarily need to be 7 zeros in the bank, and it doesn't need to be having 20,000 friends. You know, it can be anything. And and there's nothing wrong with 7 zeros in the bank being your, you know, as well. But I wanted to ask you what your definition of success is, bro. So take it away.
I mean, it's quite a weird one, actually. It's from a personal point of view and a business point of view, it's sort of leaving people better off afterwards than they were before. So whether someone has met me and they've been in a business meeting with me, and I always try to have a bit of fun, I always try to make it more enjoyable, and I want someone to come out, I want suppliers to work with me in business, I want clients to work with me in business and think, oh, I'm better off than I was before that conversation. I've changed I've made people happy, I've made them enjoy their job more than before. Same with our customers. I want to make sure that people are better off after taking Whey'd than they were before they took it. So it's just trying to be a bit more, that's for me success. So like I spoke about before, having one good review is success for me. It doesn't have to be, again, I don't think money is success at all, because you can be filthy rich and you could have got there, corruptly or without using your morals. It's so easy to do. But for me, success is about making sure that people are better afterwards than they were before. So it's a bit of a weird one, but
But I love it
yeah,
because it's so universal, mate. It can transcend through business, personal life,
yeah,
relationships, and wealth.
yeah,
And I think it's a big thing that some people get confused because they're maybe very project me still, and
mm,
really like the true joy comes in life from helping people. And it's like one
yeah.
of the most, so like, tell me that when I was 20, I would have said fuck off, Liz.
Yeah, I was about to say that actually. You
Yeah.
grow up, like I'm 32 now, so I've been in business with Whey'd for 2.5, 3 years in the background, and in a job before that. You come on a massive journey, and it's, again, you have to go through that yourself. But I think narcissistic people just aren't my cup of tea. I think we all had that sort of element when we were growing up, talking about yourself, but it's about I've learned a lot from, again, my fiance as well, and trying to become a better person by making people enjoy your surroundings more, people enjoy your product more. And that's why I love going into health and fitness, because it's so much more transformative than just selling them a mug. And I apologize for any mug sellers out there. I've just got a mug beside me, so I just found it. But I just like to have a product and a business and an ethos and an attitude. And I don't have enough of myself in our business as possible. We try to sometimes be a bit corporate. I think we could learn a lot about that. But if you can just be yourself and be silly, then that's kind of it, really.
Oh, bro, I learned a long time ago, especially when putting yourself out, if you're going to try and, like, I'm not the most polished person, but I don't claim to
Mm.
be either. I swear
Yeah.
and I get on like a jackass sometimes, but it's just me, and I think it's like it's
Yeah.
a part of it, and you have to just.
I just think, like, in business as well, like I hear people, especially, like, I think Dragon's Den has been a big one for it in the way, and maybe The Apprentice as well with Sir Alan Sugar. They're great programs, but they kind of have this perception that being rude is good for business. And I've just never encompassed that. You
No.
have to build relationships. You have to. I If I went to, like I said before, if I went to a meeting with a client and they were mean to me, but they had a cheaper product, they had a cheaper packaging, I just couldn't deal with them. I just could
Yeah,
not work with them. It's just because that's who you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis.
but
I
even
think that rings true for businesses. If you're buying a product from a brand and they're horrible to you, even if it's the best product in the world, you're not going to want to buy it again.
I
So
love that example, and like to isolate that, something that we have a big ethos in, like, building our business through relationships and building it one
mm,
customer at a time. But even like an
yeah,
isolated example for people listening is, like, for example, if whenever we first kind of touched base, we went for a coffee, we met up whenever you were over, and it was great, and
yeah, yeah,
a lot from the meeting. But, like, if we had met up and we were these two big egotistical guys, like, for example, I rang you up for our like insure comp, and you sent me like
mm,
3 bags of protein and fucking patches and 20 sachets and a protein shaker. Like, if I was a dick, I would have had to
yeah,
pay for all that.
mm,
And
yeah.
likewise,
And I
any.
want to charge you for it. Yeah,
Exactly. And likewise, if you had been a complete bell end to me, we
mm,
will not be sending stuff to you for any of your competitions. I actually don't even know if we.
yeah,
I think we've sent some stuff in the past, but
yeah. We did the home loan comp. So yeah, it's all about relationships. I've learned that very quickly. I've kind of learned it organically just by being polite to people, that actually that's the reason why you win. Like when we've won, like, so we've pitched for football clubs before, Premier League clubs, and unfortunately we're not allowed to say who they are because we're under NDA and they're sponsored by other brands. But that's irrelevant, really. The reason we got in there was because I went and met them, and I managed to get into front of them and had a conversation with them, and they loved me, and they loved our brand, and they didn't love me, but they loved the fact that we weren't just some corporate brand. We were someone just trying to offer a good product. And if I was using a corporate sales phone call with a script, just never would have got in there. So just by being yourself. I can sometimes probably be a little bit silly when I'm in meetings, but I think I'm allergic to seriousness. I just can't do it. And I always say an inappropriate thing at a time that's sort of when it's quiet, but that's just who you are. You have to be yourself in business and in life. And as long as that person is not narcissistic, I think you'll do all right.
I think, especially in 2020 and in general, like, people aren't fucking stupid. Like, authenticity goes a long way.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. I think pictures are great online, but you know what people are like, really, don't you? So, but hey, what's great as well is that it's not like we come across people that are bad. 99.99% of people we meet are great. You know, but in the same way, when we deal with our athletes, that the first thing I do is I want to speak to them, I want to meet them, I want to see what they're like. And you know, we've worked with athletes before that we don't work with now because they just aren't our brand. They're not the right fit for our company. And that's just the lay of the land. You just got to deal with that. But yeah.
Well, listen, bro. I think we're coming to the end of the show. I mean, you and I both know we could stand here and talk all day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I definitely know the listeners are going to have some serious value in that. I mean, for anyone at any stage of their business, and even if you're in business or you're working for another business, I mean, everything we've said is totally relative. Like, it still works. You know, authenticity, for example, shines through in your own game.
Yeah.
Working for someone else, and you know, you'll see big changes. But no, listen, Adam, thank you so much for your time.
It's been a pleasure.
I've really enjoyed this conversation, actually, and I'm really excited to get it up. So,
Sweet.
It's not a sales platform, but we always love to give an opportunity for the guests to plug their pages, their sites, their socials, whatever. So, mate, do a shameless plug there.
This wasn't told before the pod, so this is interesting. So basically, if you're out there, if you've ever taken a protein shake, whether that be vegan, whether that be whey, and it's ever given you an upset stomach, give us a try. You know, Whey'd.com or wheyidsland.com, and we've got a trial box on there, so it's £5 or €5, and basically includes free delivery. Get 4 sachets, give it a try. If it's great, then come back to us. If it's not for you, then so be it. But you just got to try it and realize that there is another product out there that can make you feel great again. And if you've seen the size of our athletes, then you'll know that it works. So,
Big time. Just go on and search PD Savage or Mickey Smith on Instagram, and you'll see. You're the
before and after pictures are unbelievable. Yeah, you should see.
But no, mate, we'll cut it off there. Thank you again, Sweet. And Adam, we will talk soon.
Nice. Right. Cheers, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.